For a very long time, people have engaged in planning, organizing activities, allocating resources, and scheduling tasks. More recently, a newer discipline emerged: strategy. At some point, people began combining the two concepts and calling it strategic planning. But here's the issue: planning and strategy are not the same, and simply merging the two doesn't automatically produce better outcomes. In fact, most so-called strategic planning in the business world has very little to do with real strategy. It might carry the label, but it usually amounts to a list of initiatives: improving customer service, opening a new facility, launching a talent development program, expanding marketing efforts. While these sound valuable, they're often disconnected activities that don't form a coherent path to winning in the market. So what is strategy? A strategy is an integrated set of choices, a clear theory that defines where you will play, which markets, customer segments, or geographies, and how you will win, how you will deliver greater value than your competitors. A great strategy is coherent, actionable, and based on a hypothesis about how the company can gain a competitive advantage. It must be grounded in logic, built around choices that align and reinforce one another, and able to guide decision-making across the organization. In contrast, planning does not require this kind of coherence. Planning is typically about inputs and actions, often driven by departmental needs. Operations wants a new plant, HR wants to hire more talent, marketing wants a bigger campaign. These don't always align with one another, nor do they necessarily point to a winning position in the marketplace. Why is planning more comfortable? Planning feels safer. It deals with what you can control: costs, resources, internal processes. You decide how many people to hire, how much space to lease, how much to invest in production. These are internal decisions with predictable outcomes, but they don't guarantee success. Strategy is riskier because it targets an outcome you don't fully control: customer behavior and market response. It requires making bold choices and betting on how the market will react. You can't prove a strategy will succeed ahead of time, you just have to believe in the logic behind it and commit to learning and adapting. A real-world example: Southwest Airlines, while traditional U.S. airlines were busy planning routes, building hubs, and optimizing operations, a small Texas-based airline, Southwest Airlines, was crafting a strategy to win. Southwest's goal wasn't just to operate like everyone else. They wanted to redefine air travel as a substitute for the Greyhound bus. Low-cost, short-haul, high-frequency travel. Their strategic choices included flying point-to-point, not hub-and-spoke, to reduce delays and maximize aircraft use, using only Boeing 737s to streamline maintenance, training, and operations, not offering in-flight meals to lower costs, encouraging direct booking to avoid third-party fees. These choices, taken together, created a low-cost structure that enabled them to offer consistently lower prices. It wasn't just a plan, it was a theory of how to win. And it worked. While legacy carriers were merely playing to play, Southwest was playing to win, and it eventually became one of the largest airlines in the US by passenger miles flown. So how do you escape the planning trap? To move from planning to real strategy, here are some key steps. Accept the discomfort. Strategy involves uncertainty. You won't have all the answers up front, that's okay. Great leaders accept this risk to pursue meaningful competitive advantage. Articulate a clear theory. Lay out the logic behind your strategy. What must be true for this strategy to succeed? What assumptions are we making about customers, competitors, and our own capabilities? This clarity allows you to test, monitor, and adapt as conditions change. Keep it simple. A great strategy doesn't have to be long or complicated. You should be able to summarize it on one page. Where will we play? How will we win? What capabilities do we need? What systems and metrics will support our choices? What outcomes do we expect to achieve? Commit to a journey. Strategy isn't a one-time document, it's an ongoing process. You'll need to review, refine, and evolve it based on how the market responds and how your capabilities grow. Final thought. Yes, planning might feel more comfortable, it's within your control, but comfort doesn't guarantee success. In fact, just planning might be the fastest path to losing in a competitive environment. If you embrace real strategy, with all the uncertainty and learning that comes with it, you give yourself and your organization the best possible chance of winning.